we're going to give Erin some props right up top because she's blowing up on the Instagram and the TikTok. And I saw this video that she put up a couple days ago. She went.
Is this like a new like TikTok Zoomer like pick me lady? Is this a new Chaya Rai chick? Do we have a new Chaya Rai chick? Oh no. I have such name blindness, I've already forgotten what this chick's name is.
To New York City.
The Instagram. Yeah, to remember, by the way, Dave Rubin, to be fair, he does look quite young. Like he doesn't really look as old as he is, but he's actually quite old. He's got like a husband and kids, and that was like years ago that was like news. So he's actually quite on the older side. Doesn't surprise me he calls it the Instagram.
That she, I don't know why anyone would go there, but she went to New York City and she put this up. So this is a little intro to Erin.
Welcome to another day in my life as a conservative woman, this time visiting my hometown of New York City, the place where ovaries go to die. It is.
Oh, it's this lady. I've seen this lady's like YouTube shorts and TikToks before. Okay, yeah. All right. I see. I know who this lady is.
Funny being back because while Florida is a giant
She copies the bee lady's voice. If you know what I'm talking about, you know exactly what I mean.
blue state refugee camp, New York is an actual refugee camp.
Man, I did not know that Dave Rubin was getting as like far right on his show. Okay. I thought he was still kind of holding the whole like enlightened centrist line, but I seem to be wrong.
Now, since my last visit, everyone around me is still pale, unhappy, masked, and trans. Okay, not
Pale, unhappy, masked, and trans. Is this lady like for real? Or what? Am I supposed to respond to this like with an argument, or even like deconstruct it to reveal how it's actually a bigoted thing to say? Because I think she's just saying it, and they're all about to just agree with what she said and be like, wow, it's so insightful. You know, I think the fact you're going viral right now really shows how what you're saying really resonates with people. You know, you really must be speaking the truth with how viral your clips are going online. You know, these metrics very clearly indicate that you're telling the truth. You know, like views and likes equals, you know, truth online. That's the conservative motto, or the Sneeko motto. Find truth through funny.
everyone is trans.
Even better.
Everyone's just kind of an androgynous self-proclaimed Marxist who live in their West Village apartments thanks to Daddy or George Soros.
What my favorite thing about these conservative figures is they love to throw around the "you don't go outside" thing, and it's like, dog, if you're unironically claiming that going around New York City, everyone is like trans, androgynous, hippie, left-wing, whatever, you genuinely are either yourself a non-grass-touching, terminally online weirdo, or you are clearly lying to an audience of people who are and don't know better. If you've been out in public in any of these cities, Seattle, New York, I've been to these cities. I live in Seattle. I walk to go get things, so I pass people on the street constantly. It is not common to encounter someone who is quote-unquote visibly gay or visibly trans. Like, when I say visibly trans, I mean like is dressing and presenting themselves in a very trans culture style. You know what I mean? You guys know what I mean. Yeah, there's trans drip, and you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like clocking trans people. I'm talking about clocking trans drip. And so like even in Seattle, which is a very progressive city, I see more pride flags than I see gay and trans presenting people, at least as this person describes it. This genuinely comes off as like, I don't go outside, I'm just pulling this out of my ass. And like, I've heard internet memes about what New York City is like. Yeah, you walk around and everyone's trans and everyone's like gendered. No, like, how do people hear this when they live in a city or go outside at all and believe it? Do people like really believe this when they go outside and it is not the way these people describe it? Gender nonconforming people make up like 2% of the population. It's a lot of people, don't get me wrong, not so few of a percentage that like they aren't worthy of respect and they don't matter. But that is still such a small percentage that you're not going to be walking around a city and everyone you see is gay or whatever, unless you're at a pride parade or a gay bar or something.
Speaking of which, it would not be a complete trip without being held up in traffic by a bunch of jihadi Jains and Hamas holes, so checked that out.
Yes. Freedom of speech is good, except for when people I don't like have it.
The list. And to ward off the liberal spirits, I brought the scariest thing a leftist could see, a pocket constitution. Next stop, I went.
Do you guys remember when conservatives would do the whole, like, I'm drinking liberal tears out of this mug thing, and then, like, that meme died off because it started, like, people just found it very cringe. It just stopped being funny, it started being cringe, and people started memeing it to death. The liberal tears thing. This is literally that kind of humor. Like, here's my liberal tears mug. Okay.
I went to the police station because I figured since they aren't allowed to arrest criminals anymore, I'd see if they could at least put out a radio call to round up all men in the city of athletic build with no wedding bands ages 30 to 39, but they said no, so I...
What was the dog whistle there? I'm sorry, I didn't pick up... What?
Ward off the liberal spirits, I brought the scariest thing a leftist could see, a pocket constitution. Next stop, I went to the police station because I figured since they aren't allowed to arrest criminals anymore, I'd see if they could at least put out a...
Yeah, a really common right-wing talking point right now is that New York City... has like outlawed the arresting of criminals, and that like there's a really, I think it's Utah or something, the governor is refusing to extradite a wanted murder suspect to New York State, to New York, where he's from, where he's supposed to be extradited, because, and I quote, the Republican politician or governor here, murder is just legal in New York now, so they'll set him free if we let him get extradited back there. I think it's best we hold on to him for the safety of everybody. So, like, even governors of Republican states are refusing to comply with the law and extradite, like, criminal suspects because they want to make, like, a political statement about how supposedly New York City is so soft on crime, they aren't allowed to arrest criminals anymore, or whatever.
Radio call to round up all men in the city of athletic.
Mind you, New York City's NYPD is the most funded, like, police department in the world and has a higher more funding and more equipment, weaponry, and, like, soldiers, quote unquote, like manpower than some militaries of nations.
Build with no wedding bands ages 30 to 39, but they said no, so I left. I went to get a snack and so I looked for another snack, but oh no. And another, and well.
So this is the talking point that, like, in these cities, there's so many, like, black people in such a, like, confined area, because this is obviously, like, getting to a racist dog whistle, that, like, there's a ton of shoplifting, and they have to lock up everything to stop the shoplifting. And this is what happens when you have multiculturalism. This is what happens when you have too many brown people. 1350... You know, like, it's basically the hint there, you know, the people who are, like, if you're, like, a more moderate conservative, you're just supposed to be, liberal shithole cities. They have to lock everything up so it won't get stolen. Mind you, it's food. But if you're, like, a racist alt-righter watching this, you interpret it as, yes, these enclaves of brown people, it's so crime-ridden, they have to lock up the food or it'll get stolen, you know?